Hi, welcome to 001, the very first session of the podcast called Podium, Spiritual Truths Behind Elite Sports Performance. My name's Denise Holland and it's a real pleasure. Thank you so much for tuning in. So what's the reason that I'm doing this podcast? Well, basically, I have learned something. After 20 years involved in performance sport, I realised there was something missing. And it wasn't until I left my role as national coach for Scotland Netball, which I was in place for 4.5 years, that I realised that there was something fundamental about the human experience, that although I was curious about it, I didn't actually have the answer. So what would I expect you to get out of tuning into this podcast? And we're going to play with how often I put these out. So it could be once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, but that's really up to you. So make sure you subscribe. I'm certainly new to all of technology, but you know what? That's freedom, isn't it? Freedom of mind. Just have a go. Just do it. Just have nothing on it. So what I hope for you to get out of these podcasts, which are for coaches, they're for athletes, they're for officials, they're for anyone really that's involved in sport, particularly performance directors, CEOs of national governing bodies, talent identification and development personnel. And it's a chance to, get an inside view really. I mean, it took me 20 years and there was something missing and I never nailed it. And now I'm absolutely delighted that I've come across this understanding. I will continue to learn. I will continue to evolve as a human being. But my life is so much different. I live from a space of peace and happiness, like an inner joy. And the things that have really changed in my life is I don't moan. I don't complain very often. And if I do, I catch myself and I know that that's not helpful. I don't blame people for the way I feel. I don't blame circumstances for the way I feel. Even though sometimes it does look like my children annoy me, I know that that's not how it works. So my conversation's different. It's almost like you learn a new language of gratitude and peace and serenity and compassion and love and respect. And the one thing that I first saw is, wow, I feel like I've got 48 hours in every day and everybody else only has 24. Because my mind slowed down. I took in the birds, the trees, the flowers. I took in everything that was around me for the first time on a sort of daily basis. And I didn't have to just wait until holiday times or a walk in the park. I live my life from a space now which is so much more helpful and productive and efficient. It's so much easier. I don't feel like I'm on the treadmill running at 100 miles an hour, yet I'm still getting done the same type of work, if not more. And that is just so helpful for people. So I really hope that you get to see something and you get to have what we call in this work a shift in consciousness, whereby what you see out of your eyeballs is different, how you see it, but also where you're coming from is different. Like you have a mood change. 1 minute you're looking at a situation and you're really angry, and another minute you're looking at the same situation and actually you feel fine. Well, what's that all about? How is the mind working to create those experiences? What's that change all about? So I'm really super excited about the series. We're going to be looking at coaching specifically. We're going to be looking at performance, really getting right involved with the athletes and the team and producing performances in training and in the heat of competition. We're going to look at the intricacies of high performance from a completely different perspective. We're going to go there. We're going to go into the mysteries behind how athletes show up in any given moment. And yes, we're going to cross over into the formless spiritual nature. We're going to look at thought. Where does it come from? What's its nature? We're going to go right into that performance zone state, that space out of which everything seems to occur. And this is scientific. It's practical. It's not esoteric. For hundreds of years, the spiritual teachers and the sages have been trying to point people towards their true nature, their true self, such that they get to lead happy, high performance and fulfilling lives. And that's my hope. The sports people will evolve in a way which is really helpful, really effective and productive for them as a human being. That we get to eliminate mental illness in sport. We get to eradicate suffering. And we get to help young people through sport understand themselves as a human being. We get to cut through the problems with self-image and identity. I hope that you really enjoy this series. And if you do, please share with your friends. Let's get sports people living really great lives connected to their innate mental health and resilience. Let's get young people connected with their inner confidence and start to make the transition between youth sport into senior national honours. Let's start to make that transition a lot easier for our young people. Let's help our sports people to be able to cope with the modern day media and all of the so-called pressures that go with that. It's time for us to take stock and help sports people to understand more about themselves. And we will evolve sport. We will evolve the modern day of sport. But my hope is that we evolve it with grace and dignity and love and compassion and respect. And that achieving on the international arena is not at the expense of people and not at the expense of people's lives. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you really enjoy the series. You can get in touch with me on denise.holland@class-performance.com, or you can get onto my website called www.class-performance.com, or you can join me on Facebook at Denise Holland 3Ps. That's 3P'. I wish you a wonderful day and I hope you enjoy this series. Thank you. Bye-bye.